I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now, what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
Oh, give me fucking truth, baby. Come on. Let's go.
How have I been successful in life?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Shaun, breaking news. We already lost half of our viewership since we started. So we're on a good streak. They saw who it was and how the bets have been going, and they're just like, no, fuck this. I'm out of here. It's over.
I mean, that's very dumb of them, because they should be tuning in because of how bad they are, because then they know exactly what to bet the opposite to.
Yeah. So that tells you how our UFC 292 went. We'll recap the card, and we're gonna break down UFC Singapore, Max and Zombie coming up this weekend at some god-awful time in the morning, depending on which part of the country, continent, world you're in. But should be fun. We'll figure out. We gotta be due. That's the way gambling works. I mean, it's the same with roulette. You know, the odds change every time, and you know, the more reds there are, eventually there's got to be black.
You would think so. You would hopefully think so.
Yeah, not lately. Anyway, it's been a chaotic day for me, but because of the poor performance last week, we upped the pre-show PEDs by 50% this week, because obviously the performance needs to be enhanced. So we'll see where that takes us. Shaun, I hope things are going well for you. I know you're on the road, so we'll try and keep it quick to avoid any spotty internet connections. I'm hoping I'm coming to the people live and crystal clear, because I got some new internet myself today, and anything you thought you heard me say last week or bet, probably just a bad internet connection. So we'll get there. Shaun, how's life other than betting?
It's good, man. The one nice thing about traveling is I get to see parts of this country that I usually wouldn't see, and because it's expensive to explore this giant ass country. So right now I'm a place where I've never been. I took a flight to an island and then took a ferry for an hour and a half to get where I am. So it's a cool place.
It is a very cool part of the country. Was not exactly where you are, but pretty close by recently, and would highly recommend. But that's not what the people are here for, Shaun. They're here for the fades. So let's get to them. UFC 292 recap. Women's flyweight division, Karine Silva, guillotine choke in the first round over Marina Moroz. Natalia Silva, unanimous decision over Andrea Lee. There's going to be a bit of a trend throughout this card, folks. Andre Petrosky, split decision over the Meerkat. Obvious robbery. Meerkat all day. Brad Katona becomes the ultimatist by defeating Cody Gibson by decision. Kurt Holloway, finish over Austin Hubbard. The one fight that I bet to go to decision. And two more prelims. Hobocop 2.0 destroys little Dennis Tallulah. Elbows from back mount. People complaining that they were the back of the head. Whatever. And then Brad Tavares starting the horrible trend that plagued the main card of winning a decision by calf kicking over Chris Weidman in a very sad fight. Shaun?
I don't know how good Karine Silva is, but at least she finishes fights, so that's cool. Andrea Lee is terrible. I don't know how good Natalia Silva is. The Meerkat fight was definitely closer than obviously what the odds said. I had Petrosky in a parlay of course, that went up in flames. More on that later. But yeah, I was surprised Petrosky just didn't feel like trying to test the grappling. He just wanted to slug it out, and it wasn't really working. He would land some big shit every once in a while, but yeah, other than that,
2 clear rounds and one that
Yeah.
could have gone either way.
Yep.
It was just dumb when they're on like, oh, that takedown that he then sat in a sub attempt for the rest of the round. That really sealed him the round. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking about?
I just don't listen to commentary anymore. It is an absolute waste of time. It gives you brain worms, and following on Twitter sometimes does that as well. So it's sometimes better just to watch in silence and just really filter your Twitter feed. Cody Gibson forced a fun Brad Katona fight, so that was cool. Holloway, I kind of figured he needed to get it done early. It was midway through the second, so that's not the earliest, but yeah, and Hobocop does Hobocop things. He's fun, man, and he smashes people in violent ways. And then on to sadness. The return, the title run got detoured a tiny bit, but
it's a title limp.
Right.
It's not a title run. It's a title limp.
You can't run anymore on that fucking leg.
Get there, yeah. They're just gonna take them a little bit longer.
Yeah, and then on to fun of the main card.
So that main card kicked off bantamweight division. Marlon Vera cheetoing his way to another decision victory over Pedro Munoz. Thoughts here? You go before me.
It's kind of a weird one. If you look at the numbers, Vera outstruck him in every round. It just didn't feel that way watching it. But I guess that's what the numbers say. It was a close fight. I took a stab at Munoz at plus 187. I don't hate that. For some reason, the judges just don't like what he does. Usually it's more volume that he lands, but he didn't really do that, I guess, technically this time. I don't know. They just don't like what he does. He seems to be on some shittier ends of some decisions, but what can you do?
30-27s here were just
yeah.
Ooh, that's
I was thinking. Or can we grab a split here? It's going to be tight, and then 30-27s come, and you're just like, oh, don't need to worry about this anymore.
Yeah. I not the worst decision ever. I'm biased because I had money on Munoz, but yeah, that one saw it going a different way. Started to drift in and out at that point. I remember napping through a couple of these. It just wasn't tremendous viewing. Mario Batista takes a unanimous decision over Damon Blackshear. This one also bad. I don't know. People were probably just complaining that I was scrolling through Twitter. Well, half asleep. Not X. Should have been scrolling through Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. This Blackshear did a lot better than I expected. Maybe Batista isn't that good. Maybe Blackshear's better than I guess what we thought.
Both?
Yeah, probably both.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all I guess.
Awesome. More sadness. Ian Gary calf kicks his way to victory over an old man who didn't do anything until he started doing things and having success.
Yeah, both of us were sad on this because your bets on Magny Madoff did not really go your way, and my unders did not go my way. Like I said, I think we all think that Gary is fairly fraudulent. I just thought Magny was there for the taking. Didn't
Yep.
end up.
Still didn't get tooken.
I know, and it was there because Magny wasn't doing fuck all, and Gary still couldn't get him out of there. So that's not great. Not great for Gary.
And just bouncing back a little bit earlier, we didn't really talk about this because of just how Weidman looked, but Brad Tavares should be cut for not finishing that fight. That's bad. I don't know if it's like a respect thing or
maybe these guys just aren't good enough, and that might be it. I don't know, one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around forever, won a lot of fights, but just doesn't have the finishing in him. Anything else we wanted to say about Gary and Magny? Probably not.
No, the fade plant is there. It's just we need the right matchup.
Big roots.
Roots.
There's some good roots on that fade plant.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need somebody that has a little something to pull them out.
Yep.
Co-main event, one-way traffic. Zhang Weili, Amanda Lemos, unanimous decision. That happened.
If you had the under, if you had doesn't go to decision, you got to be pretty pissed. Somehow I was not on those. You can't blame me for mushing that because that was there was definitely opportunities for Lemos to get out of there or corner to throw in the towel. That was a mauling. You just wish that Weili could actually get her out of there, but she couldn't.
Yep. Not great. Kind of reminded me, like, it wasn't anywhere near as brutal. But do you remember the Cyborg fight against, it's like Julie Kedzie or one of those women that's been around forever, and she just like beat her for like 2.5 or 3 rounds, and people were crying about it and wanted the towel to get thrown in and all that sort of fun stuff. Anyway,
that's the normal these days.
The 2023 version of that.
Was that Leslie Smith? Was that in Bellator or was that in UFC?
That was like an old Strike Force one.
Oh, we're going way back to Strike Force. Yeah. I gotcha.
I should know what the name. Jan Finney.
That was knees to the body with 256 into the second.
It sounds about right. Anyway, main event, bantamweight division. Hey, credit to him. He did it. Sean O'Malley is now the bantamweight champion of the world. This feels like, not in terms of where they are at their careers, but remember when Bisping won the middleweight title and everyone was like, ooh, I want to fight that guy. And he was like, I don't want to fight any of you guys.
I'm trying to fight old
Dan
people.
Henderson.
Yeah.
That kind of feels like where this division is at right now, because I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but I feel like a whole lot of guys think they have a shot against Sean O'Malley, and he keeps proving me wrong.
Right there with you. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's as bad as the Bisping, because he's angling for the Chito Vera rematch, which Chito Vera is not at the state that Dan Henderson was at the time of the rematch. So it's just annoying because Chito Vera, yes, he won against Pedro Munoz, but he just lost before that to Sandhagen and got beat pretty easily, even though the numbers, the judges say otherwise. Merab not getting this fight, Aljo not getting a rematch. Like, it's always tough when a guy gets finished, and in the way that he did, to get an instant rematch, even though the UFC gives him out like candy. But he won 9 fights in a row. Like, if somebody did deserve a rematch, it's probably him, but the UFC hates him for a bunch of reasons. So I'm not surprised that there's not really any talk of a rematch. But then Merab not getting it when he's won how many in a row and is absolutely crushing people. That just they're just trying to squeeze as much money out of O'Malley as they can. Yeah, props to O'Malley. I don't know what the fuck Sterling was doing.
That was
Like the first round, waiting until 20 seconds left to shoot a takedown. Like I understand he was doing all right in the striking, but that doesn't mean anything when he just looked. I don't know. He came out like he obviously took the loss like a champ, the way he's talked and stuff like that. But it's frustrating because he says, "Oh, I was trying to make it exciting." Nah, dude. That's not the time. That's not the time to make things exciting. You know what would have been exciting? You know what a lot of people would have liked? For him to just grab that fucker and strangle him quick and ruin that hype train. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if just the pressure got to him. I don't know what it was, but that was a very perplexing game plan from a guy that, for the most part, has shown fairly decent fight IQ. Yeah, that can happen. O'Malley's got sharp striking.
And if you run forward with your hands down,
and if you run forward with your hands down and get clocked in the temple, you will go down. I know there's some talk about it being a sketchy stoppage, but that's like I had a fuck ton of money on Sterling, and like it was bordering on a little late, which I don't mind in a title fight when you got a guy that's still a good age and has a good win streak and all this. Like give him the opportunities, but O'Malley was landing some gnarly ground and pound, and Sterling's head was bouncing off the canvas. Like
there's the one like rocket ship right hand right before Sterling rolled over.
Yeah, like he's knocking him out and waking him up when he's bouncing his head off the canvas. So I got nothing on that stoppage. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to lose a shit ton of money fading O'Malley. I don't know if I'll do it to the extent if the Vera fight happens. But if it's somehow Merab or it's a rematch, I'll probably lose a good chunk again.
I think Merab is definitely the fight that we wanted to see Aljo fight.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like Merab's not gonna fuck around.
Yeah,
and he has the cardio to do it, which doesn't make sense. That was the wild thing about the Peter Yan fight, where he could just endlessly go for takedowns and not get them and still keep going. It doesn't make sense, and that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see out of Aljo, and I don't know if just Aljo didn't trust his cardio. And then O'Malley comes out and says, "I haven't grappled in 6 weeks because my ribs fucked up." Seriously, Aljo, you couldn't take down the guy that supposedly hasn't grappled in 6 weeks? Like,
to O'Malley's credit, he was very good at just like keeping enough distance to avoid every grappling exchange.
Yeah, not getting wall and
he had to commit to something to get in, and he just wasn't willing to do it. So he just poked at his legs for the first round.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
We'll see what happens next. Interesting division.
I called it. Like I congratulated him on Thursday for winning the belt, because of course, I had a large wager on Sterling in like 4 different parlays. So yeah, you're welcome, Sean O'Malley. You're welcome.
Lots of losses on it wasn't like the worst UFC card ever, because there was some very exciting moments in it. The tough fights, those blew my expectations out of the water. I thought they were going to suck, and those are probably the 2 fights I enjoyed the most in the entire card. But it was probably the dorkiest card of all time. Like, if you're a dork, you loved that card. With O'Malley being a dork and winning, and Gary winning, all the chalk winning. It was a highly dorky card.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Anyway, something that I am going to be wrong about. Probably every fight on UFC Singapore, which we will get to now. It's coming up from Singapore. The indoor stadium, I believe that's where One used to do all their stuff, or does a bunch of stuff still. Max Holloway, Korean Zombie, main event, retirement fight for the Zombie. Yeah, that should be a thing that happens, but we're going to kick it off. Featherweight division. Seung-woo Choi, Jarno Errens. Big thoughts here, Shaun.
Big thoughts. Seung-woo Choi, very perplexing career. There was a short little time there where I was like, okay, well, he might be a medium level okay fighter. And this run that he's been on is a bit rough. He was doing okay in the Caceres fight and gets choked out, loses, gets dropped twice by Kulabau, gets dropped and finished by Trezano. It's a tough run. Those guys are decent fighters that he's losing to. I don't know too much about this Jarno Errens feller.
He's Dutch.
He's Dutch. Yes, that is very true. But what I do know is he lost to William Gomez, who he's okay. He's not great. This seems kind of like a get right fight, I think, for Choi. Either that or he's probably hanging him up at this point. I'll pick Choi, but I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, I think it's Choi here as well. Also, don't want to bet it. Yeah, Errens is he's a road warrior, man. He went into Paris, fought against the hostile crowd that was supporting Takanori Gomi's son. And now I know it's not a card in Korea, but he's going over to Singapore to fight Seung-woo Choi. So good on him. I guess get those UFC fights in as best you can, as many cool places as you can.
Yep.
Women's flyweight division. Shaun, I know you got a bet on this one, so don't be mocking the fight. This is a banger. JJ Aldrich taking on Na Liang.
Yeah, this is a complete dart, but Na Liang has 19 wins, lots of them fraudulent wins, but 19 wins, 18 of them in the first round. So first round or bust. That's what it comes down to. Aldrich, for the most part, is pretty durable, so I kind of understand why the price is what it is, but it is first round or bust. Aldrich is flying across the world. Na Liang, round one, plus 1078 if you arb it at Bet Online with round one sub and round one TKO. I put a quarter unit on that. Aldrich is the better fighter. I think she takes over and wins, but it's a lottery ticket on a fight that's going to happen while I'm probably sleeping. So hopefully I wake up to a lottery ticket.
I like where your head's at. I think you're overthinking this one.
Okay.
We've got an over 2.5 at plus money in a JJ Aldrich fight.
I understand that, but
I've seen the records. I know she usually gets finished too, but JJ Aldrich can't finish a sentence.
Na Liang has
She's got one loss by decision in her career, so it's possible.
It is possible.
Somebody is going to drag that dog out of her. It's JJ Aldrich.
What's Aldrich by decision?
Plus 190.
Yeah, so yeah, at that point you might as well just play the over.
Yeah. Plus 152 at Bet Online on over 2.5. I got to do it. It's a JJ Aldrich fight.
It's principle. It's a JJ Aldrich fight. I get it.
All right, moving on. Welterweight division. Billy Goff against Yusaku Kinoshita. Is he going to be kind of Shita like last time, Shaun?
Probably. I gotta be honest. I really don't care. This is extremely low level stuff. Yeah, I'll pick Kinoshita because flying less. That's what I'm gonna go off of. I really don't care. This is terrible.
I think it should be entertaining. Given what you've seen from these guys on Contender Series and in limited other, like the other guy Goff was in CES, so some of that kind of crap that every once in a while I watch. Kind of wish I hadn't. But they're gonna trade some shots. Somebody's probably getting put out pretty early because that's what's happened to both of them in the past. I just don't know who it is. I don't know these guys well enough to have a lot invested in this fight. But we'll go with Kinoshita, as Shaun said. You can't be wrong on all of them, folks. Welterweight division again. Kenan, Kenan. We might need to start, if he ends up being good, we might need to start calling him Rolando Bedoya instead of Rolando, because you pull off a couple more subs and you get the Brazilian pronunciation.
Nice. Yeah, Song Kenan, he's been in the UFC for 6 years. That's pretty wild. And if you look at, he's got 4 wins, which, doesn't sound terrible. And then you look at who he beat, and they're just absolutely horrible opposition. The guys he's lost to are decent, but the guys he's beat are terrible. Bedoya, he looked good in the loss against Chaos. I get the line. Song Kenan is pretty fraudulent in my opinion. Bedoya seems pretty decent. So we might get our chance to turn a Peruvian Brazilian.
I'm saying no to the crossover between Peru and Brazil, at least at this point. I mean, it's happened time and time again. We get impressed by someone in a loss. They're a minus 300 the next time out, and they lose because they're not really that good. They were just somewhat competitive or more competitive than we expected in a fight. Yep. That list of wins for Song is pretty sad, though, and that's all pre-COVID too. I know we complain about the quality since COVID, but it's been not great for a while, folks.
It's just different names. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, I might take a shot on old Song here. This line's starting to creep up, and one of these dogs has to hit eventually.
I would assume you're probably looking inside.
I don't even know. I think the money line's fine for me. Plus 260.
Yeah.
What's inside? It can't be too much better than that.
It is.
It was so much easier when you could just do this all on one site.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's only 350 at Bet Online.
Yeah, I'll stick with the old money line there.
Yep.
That's just going to be small because I don't trust anything that I think right now. Middleweight division. this one should be fun. I like this one. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and Njokuani taking on the Candyman, Michael Oleksiejczuk. Shaun.
Yeah, they finally matched these guys up to promote a good fight. These guys both, if they face guys that can grapple, they for the most part usually lose. Neither of these guys I don't think are going to grapple, so we're gonna have a stand-up fight, so it should be fun. And I don't know, I've always liked Michael Candy. His striking has always been very appealing to me. He just struggles when guys grapple him, and I don't think that's going to happen. For the most part, he's looked good at this weight class. I think he gets it done, and I took him at -110 for a unit.
I'm just gonna fade Shaun here. I
Smart
can give
man.
a breakdown. It's not just fading you. I think that
helps.
GD's it does help. That sort of put it over the edge. GD is very dangerous at range. The Candyman does his best work when he gets into the pocket, so he's going to have to go through that. And GD's also a fucking monster in the clinch. So if he doesn't stay in the pocket and he closes in too much, I don't think that's going to go great for the old Candyman either. So I think he has to thread a pretty fine needle in this fight, and I'm not really sure that he can without at least eating a ton of damage. So I'm going to go Chidi in this one. You got -110. There's a +100. There's an even out there. I almost said +100. Gross. There's an even out there on Chidi. That's not bad. Sorry, Shaun.
That's okay.
Happen.
Hey, at least one of us is going to win some money. Goddamn it.
Bright side. Bantamweight division now. Garrett Armfield. I've heard of him. I know he's fought in the UFC a couple times. I have never seen him fight still. So, spoiler alert for my breakdown. And he's taking on Toshiyomi Kazama.
Japanese. Armfield's only fought once. He got subbed by Onama. Kazama doesn't seem very good. I don't think these road to the UFC guys are going to end up looking too good, other than the ones that are actually good and won. So I'll just pick Armfield, but this is very low level shit.
This is it's blowing my mind that technically Kazama has fought more in the UFC than Garrett Armfield.
Technically. Does that actually count? I don't think so.
I don't know. Either way, haven't seen either of them. I have no opinion on this fight. This is probably too early in the card for me to be awake and watching right now. Although, you know what, I have to admit, I'm probably more likely to watch a card like this that's just on when I wake up in the morning than I am to watch the exact same card if it was on a Saturday night. So
100%. You can put this on the background when you're making coffee and making breakfast. You're not going to sit down and stop doing something else when this happens on a Saturday night.
Exactly. So it reminds me of, being a kid watching WWF Superstars on like Saturday morning, early afternoon. Just take that model and run with it, UFC. It's yours. You're welcome. I expect the check in the mail. Heavyweight division. Where's Waldo Cortes-Acosta taking on Lucas Brzeski? It's terrible. I must be dehydrated. Couldn't roll my R.
This is some low level heavies, and those are always fun to watch. And they are when you have bets on the over. Unfortunately, in this one, you are not getting a very cheap price on what is likely to go to a decision. where's Waldo? Throws a good amount of volume. He struggles when guys try to take him down. I don't think Brzeski is going to take him down, so it's going to be striking, and it's just going to be more volume. Waddle probably picks up the decision win.
Yeah, Brzeski's he's fought in the UFC a couple times. I saw one of them, right?
Yep.
He doesn't do things.
No.
That's going to make it difficult to win. But damned if somebody facing Where's Waldo to win by decision at plus 425 isn't a little bit tempting, because he could just get held against the cage for 3 rounds and lose. So I can't bet it.
Waldo by decision is plus 115 as a heavyweight.
That's not good, man. You should, I don't know. I mean, he would knock me out, but you should still punch harder.
Yes.
Just not me.
Yeah.
Just an innocent man. All right. Main card now. Boom. We're on to the good stuff now, Shaun.
Oh my goodness. The good stuff. Yes.
Junior Tafa taking on Porky Porker, my man. This is like borderline t-shirt in the pool.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely on one side t-shirt in the pool.
I know, but like Tafa's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got that, that his brother's got the same physique. I mean, for the most part,
that's just the Samoan home cooking.
That's right.
Great
yeah, weird fight. Like, I don't. I mean, I could see this more if the old Porky Porker, beat Junior Tafa's brother, and they wanted to set up the storyline, but he lost to him. So I don't know if what the reasoning with matching this up is. I don't think the UFC really cares about matching things up these days. They just throw names in the hat and pull out whatever, and that's the extent of matchmaking at this point. I think this one extends a bit longer than what the other Tafa did. I just don't know how. I think Junior Tafa is just not that good. Not to say Porky Porter is any good either, but I think he's going to have definitely some more success. He's not going to get knocked out in a minute. I think he'll lean on Tafa and wear him out, and then once these guys get tired, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? But let's get some sloppiness, let's get some tiredness, and let's get this over.
Love it. You know I'm on board when it comes to some fatties. I mean, this is the same guy who just lost to Mo Usman by decision, and I'm pretty sure that that Usman was a pretty big price for that decision. This is my wheelhouse, Shaun.
Yep.
And now we're getting the Porky one at plus 450 decision. That's got to be a thing that happens. This is, as you said, it's gonna get dragged out. It's I don't think it's just a complete blowout when they're striking, and then they're gonna get into the clinch, and every once in a while, good old Porky will throw in a takedown or two just to keep him off balance. But yeah, I'm liking the Porky one just to win the fight, but more so by decision, and more so than everything, Fatty's gonna fatty. What's our price? Minus 106. Was that a widely one?
No. Well, we're gonna take.
Yeah, you tell me the price.
Minus 115.
Minus 115. Fatty's gonna fatty. If this doesn't work, I just might have to call it. It's over. Fatty's gonna fatty isn't real. nothing is real, Shaun.
Sadness.
Right? Anyway, moving on. Two people that are allegedly going to be the future champion. One maybe could have already been the champion. Aaron Blanchfield taking on Tyler Santos. I always do that. Like, what kind of sick people do you have to be as parents to put the I beside the L like that? It's just, that's horrible. Straight to jail.
They're trying to confuse us. This is an interesting fight. I think this is a good test for Aaron Blanchfield because, you know, like her game plan for the most part is take people down. That's Tyler Santos's game plan. And Santos has shown a little bit better takedown defense. Aaron Blanchfield has been taken down. So this could get really ugly if the wrestling cancels out and we're just going to see 15 minutes of striking from these ladies, because that is not their games, and it might be a rough watch. I'll take Blanchfield, just being the younger fighter. I think she is a little bit better on the feet. And then I think I think she'll stuff Santos's takedowns, and she might get a couple of her own, but I think this is going to get ugly and be on the feet, and Blanchfield is just going to edge it. So, good test for a hyped up prospect. We don't always get these good tests. So I'll take Blanchfield, but would not really be surprised if Santos was able to get some takedowns and grind out a close decision.
Oh, don't do that. Just pick Santos. You know you want to.
I do. I mean, I'm probably going to in Toutmaster.
I'm taking Santos. I think that you're probably right that Blanchfield better on the feet, probably like technically a better grappler. I think this is one of those fights that's going to come down to physicality, and Santos is stronger, and she's shown that against a higher level competition that can cancel out that skill. So I think she can do it against Blanchfield and just sort of muscle her around and turn it into a grappling match where she's on top a lot. So I'll go Santos. I don't know that I'm going to bet it. I don't really like that I have an opinion on that fight. So, you know, fighting the demons, folks. Fighting the demons. Bantamweight division, Rinya Nakamura. This is the fellow that you talked about earlier that won Road to UFC? Question mark?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I know things, folks. Taking on Fernie Garcia. He's got a brother or something that's also in the UFC. Also not great.
Tafa?
Fly him over. Is it?
I don't know.
I hope so. Yeah, but flying Fernie Garcia over to Singapore definitely to win this fight, right?
Yeah, this definitely feels like a setup fight. I don't know how good Rinya Nakamura is. Did what he was supposed to do on the road to UFC, just smashed all these dudes. Fernie Garcia is terrible. So I don't know how much we're gonna learn from this fight if Nakamura is really anything, but Nakamura should smash him. Fernie Garcia, very, very bad, and this probably ends his UFC career.
Fernie tough though. Take a punch, even if it's against a bad guy.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know how hard Rinya hits to see if that's something that he can't handle. I guess I'm going to watch Rinya Nakamura for the first time. So we'll see what happens. I am not betting him as a minus 800 favorite. Featherweight division, the Birdman, Giga Chikadze, taking on the Fro Man, Bruce Leroy. Alex Caceres. Shaun, thoughts?
I've been losing some money on old Alex Caceres in the last couple fights, so to return the favor, I'm going to mush him against Giga. Giga has been out for a solid year and a half. Makes sense kind of after the shit beating he took from Cater, but that's still not great to take that much time off, in my opinion. And he's not a super young guy anymore, so I'll take the more active fighter. I think Bruce Leroy's got a couple different ways to win this fight. And yeah, that layoff is a big question mark. So I put a unit on Alex Caceres at plus 210.
I can't even fade you on this one. I haven't made that same play, but I can certainly see how it goes down. Just, him dancing around from the outside is probably not going to be great for him in this fight. He's probably going to get kicked a lot, but if he gets to Giga's back, it's going to be at least a round, if not more, in these fights. Oh man, I've got the old PFL on in the background.
Yeah.
Apparently that's going on a Wednesday, but the commercials so bright. I need to get a shittier TV. This one, too much color.
Rich people problems.
I just don't know that I want to trust Alex Caceres like ever.
I know the feeling
in the past, but this is a weird one to me. I'm going to stay away. I think he just stays on the outside and gets kicked a lot by Giga. I hope it's not that. It'd be more fun the other way. Co-main event, light heavyweight division, the greatest of all the divisions. Contenders in said division, Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann. Shaun.
It's a weird fight. They fought 2 years ago. There was no sketchiness. Anthony Smith just beat the shit out of Ryan Spann. Was cracking him and knocking him on the feet. Snatched up the sub. Pretty clean win. I know since Anthony Smith has lost 2 in a row. His body is bubble gum and tape and some sticks, and that kind of contributed to his loss to Ankalaev. He was going to lose that fight anyway. Didn't really do much in the Johnny Walker fight, so I kind of get where this line is coming from. But Ryan Spann, he's got a couple wins since the Smith fight, but he also looked very bad against Nikita Krylov. Anthony Smith round 1 sub is plus 750, I think, which is exactly what happened last time. I don't think that's a terrible number. I know Anthony Smith has a bunch of TKOs, but not recently. His recent wins in the UFC for the most part have been subs. And on the other side, Ryan Spann, I know he's got some subs on his record, but Anthony Smith, for what he is, he's pretty tough to sub. So if Ryan Spann wins, I think he's gonna have to knock him out. So I don't know. I might try to just lose money on both ways and bet Anthony Smith round 1 sub and Ryan Spann TKO at plus 210 and just and try to middle myself and it's gonna be awesome. I don't know. This card is not great for betting, so I'm really struggling to find ways to lose money. So I'll pick Anthony Smith by sub round 1.
So if you bet all of that, what would be the opposite? What should I bet?
Oh, the over.
this over. I don't like the sound of that, but the number would be pretty nice.
Over 1.5 plus 150.
I think the only thing that I don't like about the sub bet, I get that Smith hasn't knocked a lot of people out lately, but he was just tagging Spann so much in that first fight that like he could have just knocked him out instead of submitting him. And like he's maybe that kind of guy that goes for the submission anyway. But I don't know. Is he? I've seen him punch dudes out before.
It's just recently, for the most part, he's been grabbing subs, but I mean that doesn't
Ever
mean
since
much.
The burglar, man.
I know.
Since that burglar, he's been scared. I think
it's fair.
Got in his head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Anthony Smith. Early, I mean, since he lost to Smith, which was very quick. He's had 3 more fights where the fight hasn't gone long enough for you to tell how it would have gone. So I think it's probably going to be another quick finish, and I think it's probably going to be Anthony Smith getting it. So round 1 plus 340, not bad.
You can get it at some Camby books if you haven't been tossed out of there at a pretty decent number. I think it's like +4 something. Yeah. Or no, +340. Yeah.
How sports books need to follow me on Twitter. Because like, how are you going to limit me? I'm terrible. Let me bet, man. Just let me bet.
They don't like the things that you're betting because for the most part, they're small market stuff. And that's the stuff that they actually have a chance to lose money on.
I know. I'm a victim.
Yep. It's sad.
But yes, I did see that. So I'll get down my $16 or whatever I can.
Hell yeah.
Main event. We saw some sadness last week. Is it going to be more sadness this week in this main event where Korean Zombie might get punched a heck of a lot by Max Holloway?
Yeah. That's. I don't see. I understand the line. I know it's pretty crazy to see, but Chan Sung Jung has been getting tagged a lot recently in his fights, and his way of kind of counteracting that is been grappling, and he's just not going to be able to grapple Max Holloway. So Max Holloway is going to box his face off. It's probably going to be sad. It's probably going to be a mercy stoppage because Max doesn't really have that thudding power. It's just going to be a 1,000 cuts, and I think Max actually gets the finish here. I know it's always kind of sketchy with Max. I think it's kind of the other side that's going to help it because. You know, the guys that Max has been beating recently, impressively still at this point in his career, are, for the most part, really tough guys. Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez, Calvin Kattar, all extremely tough to finish. I think Korean Zombie is finally wilting at this point in his career, and Max is going to take him out. So I got 2 units on under 4.5 at -137.
Ooh. I do like that. That's a good one. I'm scrolling through some of these numbers, and like Max inside is -135 and higher.
I know.
And
yeah,
the under 4.5 is -138. I think Max gets finish. I was looking at round props and stuff like that because, as you said, it's probably not going to be super early if he does it. Maybe Zombie's just that shot at this point that he lands something big early and gets him out of there. But they've only got like the round 4s, round 5s at like 800-900. They're not big numbers for those rounds.
They know. So. They know.
Yeah. But that's probably what we're looking not a super intriguing fight. It would be wonderful if we got one last classic zombie war, and this would be a willing dance partner. I just don't know that he's still got that in him at this point. I guess we will find out. And on that lovely note, LR, I knew our views were down for some reason. It had to be the debate. I got to go back and watch it. Can't wait for the clips. But we kept it under an hour today, Shaun. That's
what happens when there's two of us and there's a
care.
very light card. That helps the situation.
Yeah. I'm very unlikely to be. Actually, no, we discussed it earlier. It's going to be on in the background Saturday morning. But it's big time for lacrosse right now, Shaun. So you better start playing the outro music before I talk about it, because all the box lacrosse right now, the wonderful time to be Canadian, and hopefully you had a good time. We'll see you next week.